It's good to see you today. Welcome. My name is Vix, if we've not met already, and this is my channel, Goddess of Gore, where I like to talk about horror, thriller, fantasy and sci-fi books. May is well and truly here, so I thought I would let you know about all the new books coming out this month that I'm excited about, and maybe there will be something that you have not heard of yet that you too would like to put on your radar. So let's get on with it and get to the books. I have put these in the UK release date order, so it may be different if you live somewhere else. And I've got 22, yes, 22 books to tell you about, and I promise I'm going to keep them very short. Let's start off with a thriller. The Marriage Act by John Mars comes out on the 2nd of May, and the tagline is, "What if marriage was the law? Dare you disobey?" Set in a near-future Britain, the government is a far-right, omnipresent thing that thinks the reason society is off the chain is because of the lack of marriage, and so enforces the Sanctity of Marriage Act and begins to punish being single in the country. We follow 4 couples as they find out just how impossible it is to have a relationship with the strong arm of the law breathing down your neck, and the very aspect of their personal lives is monitored, every word they speak is tracked, every minor disagreement overheard. They will use every power in their arsenal to ensure they all love, honour and of course obey. The Conjuring of the Witch by Jessica Leonard also comes out on the 2nd of May, and this is a horror. There are witches in the woods, the parishioners are told every week by the Reverend. 2 people, Nicole and Steve, think this is just a stupid legend until one of them walks into the woods and comes back changed. Something came out with her, and the simple small-town life they've always known is forever altered when they discover buried dark secrets and those intent on keeping them there. Steve doesn't know if he should help or ignore his wife's new behaviour, but he starts to think Nicole is now another witch from the woods. In this dark, haunting story of power and sin. Why does it sound so bloody good? Next, a fun and silly horror with Patricia Wants a Cuddle, a horror that comes out on the 4th of May by Samantha Allen. This book is about a deadly isolated reality TV show called The Catch. 4 women are in the final for what they think is a prize of a rich bachelor's heart, but when sleep deprivation, kind of personal interviews and the social dramas that are what the week ahead has in store for the women, the sponsorship deals and fame keep their spirits going and keep the nation tuning in night after night. But Patricia is watching them from the shadows. Living alone in the dark local woods, she is a very misunderstood individual. But in the next elimination round, the women will have to meet Patricia. And if they want to keep their eyes on the prize, they will have to survive this meeting. A meeting that may end up with just a final girl. Also on the 4th, Bitterthorn, a gothic fantasy by Kat Dunn. A cursed town overshadowed by a castle, which is also overshadowed by a wild wood. There lives a monstrous witch. Once every generation she comes down to claim a companion, and once with her, and never seen again. Mina is grieving and lonely. She has lost all hope of any future for herself in the cursed Blumwald. So when the witch demands her next companion, Mina offers herself up, though she has no idea what fate awaits her. Stranded with a darkly alluring captor, the mystery of what happened to the previous companions draws Mina into the heart of a terrifying secret. 19 Claws and a Blackbird, horror short stories from Augustina Bustoretto, also comes out on the 4th. So will Augustina do a double and pull another gem out of her hat? In this collection of 19 dark and terrible stories that delve into our darkest fears and disturbing fantasies. Oh, dear, I had no idea she knew. Through the stories about violence, alienation and dystopia, Augustina's clever and unsettling stories are always profound. In this new collection we get such treats as a girl claims to have a rabbit between her legs, a woman's neighbour jumps to his death, and a woman tries to contend with a difficult breakup in just 5 easy steps. Graveyard of Lost Children by Katrina Monroe comes out on the 9th of May, only on Kindle. It comes out in June in physical. This is a horror thriller and has a tagline, "Once she has you in her grip, she'll never let you go." Yes, do go on. Olivia Dahl was almost murdered as a 4-month-old. Her mother, suffering from haunting visions, became obsessed with the idea that Olivia was a changeling and thought the only way to get her real child back was to make a deal with the dead women at the bottom of a well. But now that Olivia is pregnant with her own child, she begins to hear the women's whispers. Feelings of dread fills Olivia as she begins to deteriorate. The baby flourishes as she withers, and she too begins to fear that the baby is not hers. History begins to repeat itself. Soon images of a black-haired woman plague Olivia's nightmares, drawing her back to the well that almost claimed her life, tying mother and daughter together in a desperate cycle of fear and violence that must be broken if Olivia has any hope of saving her child or herself. I need this book right now. A Hunter Called Night by Bram Stoker award-winning author Tim Waggoner comes out on the 9th of May. A man called Aaron is running from a supernatural creature called Night. Aaron barricades himself in an office building full of employees still, while Night and her 4 pets, which are beings like panthers, taunt him from the outside. This is a terrifying game of cat and mouse with some innocent humans stuck in the middle. To flush Aaron out, she creates Blight, a reality warping field that slowly transforms the building and its occupants into horrible and deadly ways. But unknown to Night, while she waits for the Blight to do its work, a group of survivors from a previous attempt to capture Aaron are coming for her. The hunter is now the hunted. A non-fiction for the month that I think may be interesting is Unlikeable Female Characters by Anna Bogustskaya. Comes out on the 9th of May on Kindle and then the 9th of June in physical. Today, unlikable female characters are everywhere in film, TV and wider pop culture. Unlikable female characters traces the evolution of highly memorable female characters, examining what exactly makes them so unpopular, how audiences have reacted to them, and the ways in which pop culture today is finally allowing us to celebrate the complexities of being woman. Female characters throughout history have been burdened by the moral trap that is likability. Any woman who dares to reveal her messy side has been treated as a cautionary tale. Anna Bogustskaya takes us on a journey through popular film, TV and music, looking at the nuances of womanhood on and off screen to reveal whether pop culture and society is finally ready to embrace complicated women. On the 11th of May, The Malevolent 7, a dark fantasy by Sebastien de Castell. Now, I have only ever read his YA stuff. I know a lot of fantasy readers love his great coat stuff, so I'm expecting big things from this again. We have a tagline: 7 powerful mages want to make the world a better place. Well, we're going to have to kill them first. The actual synopsis for this sounds so good, so I'm just going to read straight from the screen. Picture a wizard. Go on, close your eyes. There he is, see? Skinny old guy with a straggly beard. No doubt he's wearing iridescent silk robes that couldn't protect his frail body from a light breeze. And the hat. It's a must too, right? Big floppy thing covered in esoteric symbols that would instantly show every other mage where this one gets his magic. Wouldn't want a simple steel helmet or something that might, protect the part of him most needed for conjuring magical forces from being bashed in with a mace or pretty much any household object. Now, open your eyes and let me show you what a real war mage looks like. But be warned, you're probably not going to like it, because we're violent, angry, dangerous, broken people who sell our skills to the highest bidder and be damned to any moral or ethical considerations. My name is Cade Ombra, and though I currently make my living as a mercenary wanderist, I used to have a far noble sounding job title until I discovered the people I worked for weren't quite as noble as I believed. Now I'm on the run, and my only friend, a homicidal Thunder Mage, has invited me to join him on a suicide mission against the 7 deadliest mages. Bless you. The 7 deadliest mages on the continent. Time to recruit some very bad people to help us on this job. Sounds so good. Verge, a dark mystical tale, dystopia mixed with folk horror by Nadia Attia, comes out too. Rowena has been convinced by her mother that she is cursed, told that the day she was born 250 starlings fell from the sky like stones. Everyone who gets close to her dies, but her grandmother can help her. She can lift the curse, but to get there she must travel with her mother's farmhand, Hamlin, who will drive her. The trip isn't going to be easy. Rowena is rebellious, spiky, and sees bad omens everywhere. Hamlin is reserved, quiet, and prefers to play by the rules. The land is mysterious and treacherous, with people who have married old traditions with new misconceptions. The pair's battle of wills may yet develop into an alliance if only they can let their guards down and let the wild in. Genevieve Cogman has written a book called Scarlet, which is a vampire historical fiction with a tagline, "Revolution is a bloodthirsty business, especially when vampires are involved." Yes, please tell me more. Imagine a world where vampires are accepted members of society, usually the upper classes and aristocracy. Now imagine it's 1793 and the French Revolution is in full swing. The mysterious Scarlet Pimpernel and his league are heroically rescuing dozens of aristocrats from execution, both human and vampire. Eleanor is working as a housemaid on the estate of a vampire baroness. When the baroness hosts a mysterious noble and his wife, they tell Eleanor she is the spitting image of a French aristocrat, and they convince her to journey to France to aid them in a daring scheme. Soon Eleanor finds herself in Paris, swept up in magic and intrigue, but there's more to fear than the hot-blooded revolutionaries. For Eleanor stumbles across a centuries-old war between vampires and their fiercest enemies, and it's going to be a bloodbath. This has endless descriptions about how much of a fun romp it is, and I cannot wait to get it in my donnies. Also on the 11th, the book that wouldn't burn, a sci-fi fantasy by Mark Lawrence. This book is told from 2 perspectives. One from a girl who lives in a place called Dust, a ravaged, poverty-stricken land outside the city where there's hardly any food or water to drink, and the other from a boy trapped inside a vast library complete with an android porcelain librarian who has raised him. The world has never even noticed them, but things are about to change. They live in a world run by a tyrannical leader who encourages disparities between his inhabitants. But even so, when the girl is saved from attack by the king's soldiers, she is put to work in the same library as the boy, and so begins their tales. Their stories spiral around each other across worlds and time. This is a tale of truth and lies and hearts, and the blurring of one into another. A journey on which knowledge erodes certainty. Though the pen may be mightier than the sword, blood will be spilled and the cities will be burned. Now I think the analogy of Narnia with a dash of Stargate but in a library is the true winner for making me want to pick up this book. Mark Lawrence is a superb writer, and if you haven't read anything from him before, then this should be your sign. I'm not sure how violent this is going to be, but his other stuff is pretty brutal, so... On the 12th is Cassandra Khaw's new novella, The Salt Grows Heavy, which has horror and fantasy mixed in. Now this will be the third and possibly the final chance for Cassandra with me. And at just over 100 pages, this is going to be over pretty quick. Described as a razor-sharp and bewitching fairy tale about discovering the darkness in the world and the darkness within oneself. But when creepy mermaids are involved, I always perk up a little bit and shuffle a little bit closer to hear a little bit more. You may think you know how the fairy tale goes. A mermaid comes to shore and weds a prince. But what the fable forgets is that mermaids have teeth. Ooh. On the run, the mermaid is joined by a mysterious plague doctor with a darkness of their own. Deep in the eerie, snow-crusted forest, the pair stumble upon a village of ageless children who thirst for blood, and the three saints who control them. The mermaid and her doctor must embrace the cruelest parts of their nature if they hope to survive. And then on the 16th of May, it's No One Will Come Back For Us and Other Stories by Premee Mohamed. This is a horror short story, a collection of 17 short stories, some cosmic, some speculative, but all infested with monsters and old gods from oceans and space. A dead girl washes up on the shore and a lighthouse keeper looks after her. An evaluator who is sent out to see if someone is possessed meets something wicked. Bees and an ancient water entity are among the 17 stories inside. St. Junipers Folly by Alex Crespo, a horror fantasy paranormal story, released only in hardcover on the 16th, and then Kindle it will be on the 6th of June. This is described as Cemetery Boys meets The Haunting of Bly Manor, a queer haunted house story. Mystery is equal parts spine-tingling thrills and a celebration of found family, and a must-read for paranormal romance fans. This sounds like it's going to be cosy. So it follows three kids, starting with Jamie returning to a tiny Vermont town of St. Juniper after spending the last 8 years trying to forget about it. The gossips in town already think they know his business, and it seems impossible to make the fresh start he wanted. And with reminders of his past everywhere, he seeks out solitude in the nearby woods called St. Juniper's Folly, and he does not return. Next, it's Theo. This town is like glue. There's more out there, but he's scared to go and find it. His final school year is going to be just like the rest, dull and claustrophobic, until he wanders into the Folly and stumbles on a haunted house with a boy stuck literally inside it. And then for Taylor, St. Juniper is a mystery. The surrounding woods speak to her while she tries and fails to practice magic. Taylor can't seem to break out of her spiral of grief until a wide-eyed teenager barges into her life, rambling on about a haunted house and a trapped boy and ghosts. He needs a witch's help. The Folly and its ghosts will bring these three teenagers together to escape the Folly's shadows. This one may be a little strange sounding, but I am assured that it is horror, albeit maybe more of a graphic description in a historical setting. Hungers as Old as This Land by Zachary Rosenberg. This comes out on the 17th of May. Set in the aftermath of the Civil War in a thriving settlement of grey bluffs overlooked by the mountains known only as the Hungers, friends Esther and Siobhan must set out to make a sacrifice to ensure the town continues to prosper. A band of mercenaries known as the Black Hawks are hired to slaughter and destroy Grey Bluffs, leaving only Esther and Siobhan to defend it. As they are driven closer to the mountains, the secrets of the hunger awaits them. On the 18th, we get a great thriller by Taylor Adams called The Last Word. The latest release from Taylor Adams sounds like it's going to be a wild ride for those of us giving out low scores on review sites. I'm just warning you now, because Emma Carpenter was minding her own business one day, house sitting on the beachfront reading a crappy, gruesome horror book that she slates online with a 1-star review. Now the author, H.G. Cain, they don't like that. And so they get involved in a full-blown public argument that she's a little astounded about. But pretty soon, strange things start happening around the place she's staying at night. Is it just a coincidence? Could this horror author have moved on from the virtual onslaught and be stalking her now? As Emma digs into Cain's life and work, she learns he has published 16 other novels, sadistic tales of stalking and murder. But who is he? How did he find her, and what else is he capable of? On the Nature of Magic, a gothic historical fiction comes out on the 23rd, and it's by Marion Womack, featuring real-life events, the Moberly Jourdan incident, where 2 English women claim to have seen the ghost of Marie Antoinette in the gardens of Versailles, and strange rumours about George Méliès at his film studio, and this sounds like it's going to be so much fun. The setting, 1902, and Helena Walton Cisneros has started her own detective agency. Known for finding answers to the impossible, she takes on 2 new uncanny cases. The first case about 2 English women claiming to have seen the ghost of Marie Antoinette in the gardens of Versailles, and the second case is the murder of a young woman working at the mysterious Méliès Star Film Studios outside Paris. As Helena and her colleague Eliza investigate, they hear whispers of vanishing at Méliès Star Films, strange lights, spies, actors flying around without ropes, and connections to the occult. What is George Méliès doing at his secretive film studio? And is it connected to the haunting in Versailles? Helena and Eliza will only find the answers if they accept the natural world is darker and stranger than they ever could have imagined. The Devil's Pocketbook by Ross Jeffrey. This is a creepy grief folk horror. Although Eric and Laura's child was born with a limited chance at life, her death was still consuming them. To get away from their suffocating grief and the wear on their relationship, they take a trip to the seaside town of Polperro in Cornwall. But obviously, this will not take away their grief. Drawn to the seafront, Eric and Laura discover a large devil's pocketbook. Now, these are traditional names for the black pouches of egg sacs from sharks and such, and inside they find a miracle called Skylar. Perilous Times, a fantasy Arthur retelling, comes out on the 23rd by Thomas D. Lee. Legends don't always live up to reality in this funny retelling of the Arthur legend about a knight of the Round Table who tries to save the world from itself. Sir Kay used to hang around with his brother King Arthur, but now, as an immortal defender of the realm, he just keeps clawing his way back to life again. He has fought in Hastings, Waterloo and both world wars, but now he finds himself in a strange new world where oceans have risen, the army has been privatised and half of Britain has been sold to foreign powers. The dragon that's running amok, that he can handle. The rest, he's not so sure. Miriam is tired of fighting the wrongs in her country, so when she meets Kay, she finds a kindred spirit. As the two travel through this broken, bizarre country, fighting not just a dragon but Kay's old enemy Lancelot, they find they need a hero, someone who can wield a sword like Excalibur, a true leader. But who? It sounds very tongue-in-cheek humour and has been reviewed as a Pratchett-style humour, so I'm taking that. On the 25th of May, it's going to be Dead Waters by C.A. Fletcher, and I think this is a re-release because it also came out July last year, so I don't know. This is a haunting, suspenseful tale of isolation and dread within a small island community. A community with secrets of their own, insular, smothering society, and a mix of island-born and outsiders seeking a slower way of life. There's something in the water that is causing an illness on the tiny island in the North Atlantic. Rumours start about the shellfish shellfish farm, that it may be a waterborne neural infection that started there. Others think it is a curse that is long forgotten. But when a ferry service fails, inconvenience grows into a nightmarish ordeal as the outwardly harmonious fabric of the community is unnervingly torn apart. All the Dead Lie Down by Kyrie Macaulay comes out on the 25th of May, a gothic horror YA story. The Haunting of Bly Manor meets House of Salt and Sorrows, and you better believe I love the sound of that combination. This is a contemporary YA gothic romance about a dark family lineage and the ghosts of grief. Marion Blythe is feeling alone in the world when she receives an invitation to be a nanny from Alice Lovelace, good name, her mother's friend, who happens to be an acclaimed horror writer on her family estate. When she accepts, she finds the children peculiar, from burying dolls and performing funerals to just plain old trying to push Marion away. But when the eldest child, Evie, returns to the estate, Marion is drawn to this strange young girl. Dead birds appear in Marion's room and the children's pranks escalate. Something dangerous is lurking in the woods, leaving mutilated animals in its wake. All is not well at Lovelace House, and Marion must unravel its secrets before they consume her. And that is it. That's 22 books that are coming out that I am excited about. Is there any on there that you're interested in? Is there any that I didn't mention that you think I would like? Please let me know if there is. You know, as the months go on, I'm still excited for new authors and new books more than ever. And the 13 horror books on that list sound so good. If just one of them is a hit, I will be so happy because I've not read from any of them before. Have you? If you have, let me know what it was and what you thought about it. Thank you as always for being here with me today. I really appreciate you watching video after video, and if you haven't already, then please consider subscribing for more content or just like the video. Make some good book choices this week, my friends, and I hope to see you all again soon. Until next time, bye bye.